On a battlefield, the phantom swordsman, our protagonist, fights the demonic cult leader. They exchange fierce attacks. The cult leader unleashes a powerful blow, but the phantom swordsman blocks it with his sword. After a long and intense battle, the phantom swordsman kills the cult leader. The war is over. Exhausted, the protagonist chats with his friend from Manhwa. His friend gives him a wristband as a symbol of their victory. Suddenly, the protagonist senses an attack. In an instant, their surroundings are turned to dust, and his friend is killed. The protagonist now faces a new, unknown enemy, a powerful masked man radiating demonic energy. Already tired from the previous battle, the protagonist is no match for him. He has no strength left and is easily overpowered, brought to the brink of death. Just as he's about to die, he sees the wristband his friend gave him glowing. Moments later, the protagonist wakes up as a senior disciple of Manhwa. He was gravely injured in the previous war, and a week has passed. Confused about what happened, he begins to understand his new situation. The memories of this body's owner flood his mind. He decides to use this second chance to become stronger than he was in his previous life. He goes to the Manhwa martial arts library to learn more about the sect's techniques and begins his cultivation again from the basics. His next goal is to train other disciples, hoping to build his own force to fight the masked enemy who killed him. He visits the disciples' training ground and dismisses the current trainer, finding him too weak for the job. Later that night, two disciples, unhappy with the protagonist becoming their new instructor, come to challenge him. He effortlessly defeats them both using only a wooden sword, knocking them to the ground. The next morning, he arrives at the training ground and gathers all the Manhwa disciples. He challenges the strongest among them to a duel. The duel begins, and the opponent immediately unleashes advanced sword techniques. But the protagonist, using only basic sword skills, effortlessly dismantles his opponent's attacks. He skillfully deflects every strike, regardless of the technique used, leaving his opponent shocked and increasingly frustrated that nothing is working. Suddenly, the protagonist switches from defense to offense. With a single, decisive attack, he knocks his opponent down. This display of skill and power earns him the respect and acknowledgement of all the disciples, solidifying his position as their new instructor. Thanks for watching. Wait for part 2.